Hey everybody, this is Brian Vaught, and I've got your PLC for this week. I'm not sure, I tried recording this before and could barely hear my voice, so if I'm shouting this time, I apologize. Uh, Mine is on student engagement with visual writing prompts. The promising practice is to use visual writing prompts to increase student engagement, to get students to write more, visually stimulate students, and to have them write from a different perspective, or to try to create some empathy from them. All right, so written prompts, text-based prompts versus visual prompts. I started using these when I taught middle school. They're really great to use as bell ringers, just throw them up on the board. As the students come in, they break out their journals, their writing portfolios or whatever, and they respond to the prompt. Now, this year though, with everything being on Google Classroom, I think I like it better with the visual writing prompts, because each student gets to look at that image on their own, without a lot of interference. They get to notice details they may have missed before. There's less conversation going on in the classroom about the prompt. You don't have the one or two loud students who really like to voice their opinions, telling everybody what they think the prompt means, or how they would answer a given question. I like to have the prompts to have not a lot of directions from me. So I usually just say the prompt should answer any questions you have. Just answer the best you can. Now, some prompts have no text on them at all. In that case, usually I just tell the students to study the picture for a minute or two, and then write for 5 to 10 minutes, just to get their writing out. Whatever their ideas are, give them enough time where they're not rushed, where they have enough time to kind of develop ideas and put something down on paper. Here's an example of one of the text-based written prompts that we've used. It asks, if you could travel through time, what is one time period you would like to live in and why? And what makes that time period so appealing to you? And it's a great prompt. It's a good prompt. I could write a page or two on this. You kind of let your imagination go crazy and come up with something great. Unfortunately, a lot of the kids, they just answer the question. If it's a question-based prompt, they just answer that question and think they're done. Even if you give them a specified, like write 2 paragraphs or something, they still just want to write enough to answer the question. I'll leave this up here. You can go back through and read it. I'm not going to read the responses to you, but you can see they're pretty short and to the point. Here's an example of one of the visual writing prompts that we've used this year. Just looking at the picture, you can see it's a gentleman wearing a American flag T-shirt, and it's asking, what does an American look like? And this is kind of going against expectations of what some students may think, they believe, or feel. And again, I'll leave this on the this is on the presentation, so you can look at it. You can see some of these responses. And these aren't the best responses, and these aren't the worst responses. There were some responses that went on for several paragraphs. And some that were just 1 or 2 word responses. But for the most part, the average response on prompts like this are a little more well thought out. The kids actually have to put a little thought and effort into what they're wanting to respond to. Another thing with the prompts being on Google Classroom like this, it gives me a chance to you can add extra parts to the assignment. Like a second part where, like for instance on this one, where they have to write down the first word of each sentence from what they wrote down. They've written down their piece, they've got their ideas out and been a little creative. Well, now we're going to look at their writing, and it shows the repetition in their word usage. It shows word selection, word choice, stuff like that. So that's always good to kind of point out. I like having students go back and realize, hey, I've started 4 sentences out of 5 with the word the, and what can they do to fix that? But even the visual writing prompts, as much as I like them, there's still some that, I don't get the responses I thought I would have, or kind of hoped I would. Like with this image, I was really hoping for some really good feedback and some good ideas on what does art mean, what makes something art. but instead they just answer the question, is this art or vandalism? Well, I got some one-word responses both ways. And then some kids just responded to, hey, it's a picture of a kitty cat, and they don't go much further than that. So, and this is something with all the visual writing prompts. Some kids will focus on just one detail in the picture and not really respond to what the prompt is actually asking. So, some pros and cons. I can get some insightful responses from the visual writing prompts. They're good for visual stimulation. Some kids really like seeing a picture, and it gives them something to focus on. And it requires inference from the students. A lot of them, they have to analyze and interpret what's being asked of them. The cons are they still require effort from the students, and if the student doesn't put forth effort, you're not going to get a good response back anyway. And some students are kind of see the pictures as being obtuse. They just don't understand. They don't get what's being asked. And they're in that point, their analysis is going to fail, and they're just going to respond anything just to be done with the assignment. Obviously, we want 100% completion for all my assignments, but this year's been really weird with that. And I hope at least that my class isn't alone in missing assignments and stuff, or students turning in stuff really, really late. But yeah, we want 100% completion. But I went back and looked at the text-based versus the visual-based prompts, and I just looked at the weeks that they were assigned and which ones were turned in on time. I put everything as a due date at the end of that week, so that way it showed. If it showed up late, that means they did this on a Wednesday, or I signed this on a Wednesday. That means they didn't have it completed through that week and turned in late. So I just looked at the ones that were turned in on time, so turned in that week it was assigned. The text-based writing prompts had a 76% average student completion, and the visual writing prompts had 87% completion. And this isn't concrete by any means, but it leads me to believe that the students, they're a little more eager to work on the visual prompts. It maybe fires their imagination up a little faster, and they wrote more. Looking at the responses, just that alone, you can see that they've written more on the text, or on the visual prompts than they did on the text-based prompts. I don't give a lot of feedback on the writing prompts unless they're just not doing them, or unless they've really missed the mark. I try to let them just treat it more as more of a creative writing exercise, and not tell them they're right or wrong, again, unless they're just really off base. Resources, there's tons of these out there. You can Google visual writing prompts or photo writing prompts, and you're going to come up with page after page after page. I really dislike Pinterest, but there are some good Pinterest collections out there of visual writing prompts. You may want to be careful, just a caveat here, not to search these up at school, because some of the writing prompts and collections are not safe for work, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble. So you can kind of avoid this by putting in keyword modifiers like high school visual writing prompts. But again, I don't want anybody getting in trouble because of this. So I've attached a few of my favorites at the end of the slides here. And if you want access to my Google Drive collection, just let me know, and I'll send you an invite right away. You can steal anything I got on there. I put a couple of my favorites here at the end. Ones I've got the best responses from in the past, and kind of surprising responses on some of them. This one, describe a day in class from the teacher's point of view. Some kids get it. Some kids get that, it's what we're doing is trying to help them out. And, it's easy to get, even for good students, kind of get caught up in the the atmosphere of school of, it's the students versus teachers and stuff like that. So you can get some really good responses from this and good insight. Again, these are all available for you, and I'll gladly share any of them. I like this one. This always gets usually the best responses. Pick the grossest food or drink that you've consumed and describe it in a similarly vivid way as the writing here. by William Wolfram, whoever that guy is. You get some really great stuff. They love talking about anything gross. They love describing anything gross, especially the guys usually. So you get some really good responses from that. But that's it. I like the visual writing prompts. So you're welcome to use them or not, but it's something that's worked well for me, and it's in the past, and it's worked well this year. Again, I think having the picture right in front of them on their computer is been really beneficial instead of just having it thrown up as a picture on the projector screen. That's it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks.